The night the road disappeared still feels unreal, like a nightmare stitched into my memory with barbed wire. I was driving back toward my farm at the edge of Pine Ridge, headlights slicing through the fog, when I slammed the brakes so hard my truck skidded sideways. The road, the only road leading to my property, was gone. Not blocked, not under construction, gone, replaced by a massive steel gate, a neon orange barrier, and a giant wooden sign that read, "Road closed, private HOA access only. Trespassers will be prosecuted." My jaw dropped. I blinked twice, thinking maybe I'd taken a wrong turn. But this was my land, my access, my easement, my home, and behind that barricade, standing proudly with her arms crossed and nose pointed skyward, was her. Karen, the president of the Pine Ridge HOA, self-appointed queen of everything she saw, a woman who treated property lines like suggestions and other people's rights like rumors. "I told you, Jake," she called out smugly. "If you're going to live near our community, you follow our rules." "I don't live in your community," I snapped, climbing out of my truck. "My land is outside the HOA perimeter." "Semantics," she said with a smirk. "This road is now under HOA jurisdiction. We voted. You can't vote away my legal access." She shrugged. "Watch us." And then she walked away, leaving me standing there, the wind cold on my face, anger rising like a storm inside my chest. That night, as I stared at the barricade lit by my headlights, one thing became brutally clear. This wasn't about rules. This was about control. And Karen had just declared war. I'd bought my farm 5 years before Pine Ridge HOA even existed. Back then, it was all open land and fresh air. But as the city crept outward, developers saw green potential. Soon, oversized modern houses popped up like weeds, and with them came the HOA, a group obsessed with power, appearances, and enforcement. And it was all run by Karen. She'd been trying to rope my land into her domain for years. First, she tried charging me HOA dues for road maintenance I benefited from. Then she tried telling me my barn paint clashed with community aesthetics. Then she tried threatening me with fines for failure to comply with residential decor standards, even though I lived on agricultural land. I ignored her, calmly, politely. This was her retaliation. The road wasn't just a convenience. It was my only way in or out. Blocking it meant trapping me on my own land, or locking me out. Both illegal, both intentional. I called the sheriff. He sighed as soon as he heard my name. "Jake, the HOA claims they own the road now. They presented deed records and county filings. Everything looks legit." "That's impossible," I said. "There's no way the county approved that." "Well, they did," he said quietly. "At least on paper." Something clicked in my head. On paper. Not real. Not lawful. Not clean. I knew then that Karen hadn't just bent a rule, she'd broken it. And I was going to prove it. A week passed. I had to hike miles through rough terrain just to reach my own house. The HOA put guards at the barricade who followed me with their eyes like I was a criminal. And Karen strutted around like she'd won. People in town whispered that I should just cooperate, join the HOA, and the problem would vanish. But I wasn't about to let a power-hungry bully seize my land. And so, one night, after studying old maps, easements, and geological surveys, I realized something. The road wasn't the only way to my farm. There used to be another route, an old service tunnel dug during construction of the power lines decades ago. It had been sealed and forgotten, but the underground passage still existed on record. It ran directly beneath the HOA's private maintenance shed, the shed Karen used for HOA business, which was code for whatever secretive nonsense she didn't want the public to see. A plan sparked in my mind. If Karen wanted to block the surface, fine. I'd go under. The next week, I started digging. I brought in a crew, quietly, discreetly, men who owed me favors from years back. We worked at night, using small equipment, muffled engines, and old surveying tools to reopen the forgotten access tunnel. The deeper we went, the more certain I became. The HOA's road acquisition wasn't just dirty. It was a cover-up. Something smelled off, literally. Chemical fumes. Something rotten. Something hidden. About 2 weeks in, when the tunnel connected to the underside of the HOA shed, the truth hit us all at once. The air was thick with gasoline and decay. My flashlight beam swept across old metal drums. Not empty. Not labeled. Just leaking. Rust eating through their sides. Hazard signs scratched away. One of my crew cursed under his breath. "Jake, these are old chemical waste barrels. My stomach twisted. The WA land had once been a dumping ground decades before the subdivision was built. Developers were supposed to dispose of the waste safely. Instead, they'd buried it, forgotten it, and built homes on top of it. Karen must have discovered it recently, and instead of reporting it, she chose to hide it. She blocked my road because she was terrified I'd uncover the truth. Turns out, she was right. The next morning, I stood at the barricade again. Karen approached with her usual false confidence. I hope you're not planning another tantrum. I just smiled. Karen, how long have you known about the toxic waste under your wash shed? Her face drained of color. What? The chemicals. The barrels. The ones leaking into the soil. The ones you're pretending don't exist. She stiffened. You're lying. Oh, I know what's down there, I said calmly. Because I found the tunnel. The one under your shed. What tunnel? She snapped, panic in her voice. The one that proves you blocked this road to keep the public from discovering your little secret. She opened her mouth, but I held up my phone. Live streaming. Thousands watching. Comments bursting. People demanding answers. Karen froze. Smile, I said softly. You're on camera. Her face twisted. You think anyone will believe? Then came the sheriff's car. Then environmental inspectors. Then county officials. Someone on the livestream must have tipped them off. The shed was opened. The chemicals exposed. The truth undeniable. Karen tried to blame the developers. Then the WA board. Then me. But her emails were found. Her signatures. Her instructions to bury the problem. Her order to take control of the road to restrict access. Corruption, cover-ups, environmental crimes, pile after pile of it surfaced. The entire WA leadership was suspended. Karen was removed, arrested, and charged. The WA collapsed under its own rot. And the road, returned to me immediately, by court order. But the story didn't end there. Weeks later, after the toxic waste was safely removed and the land tested, I stood on my newly reopened road as the sheriff handed me a copy of the official ruling. You did good, Jake, he said. If you hadn't gone digging. I didn't go digging, I corrected. Karen pushed me underground. He laughed. I suppose she did. As he drove away, I looked at the open road stretching toward my farm. The sunset painted it gold, warm and peaceful. Karen thought she could bury her crimes. She thought she could bury me. But all she did was give me the perfect path to uncover the truth. And now, Pine Ridge no longer bows to an WA tyrant. My land is mine again. And the road, my road, will stay open forever. Because when people like Karen build walls, people like me build tunnels.